Did I take it on, or was it just me?
That was good. Good evening.
Welcome, guys, and welcome to Tuesday evening. It is 7 o'clock. It is Seedcast, and we are Seedcast Live. Hopefully, you're watching across one of our many platforms. Couldn't even tell you where they are, but we've got a very, very special evening. It is not just myself, Antony, and I'm joined by, forever and always, it seems to be, the wonderful and never aging John Fuggles. Talk to me, John.
Well, never aging because I was already old when you met me. Thank you for that. Well, thanks for that almost nice introduction with "I'm always stuck with him" kind of comment. But look, we're saved by two very intelligent and thoroughly enjoyable ladies who are joining us this evening. So you should introduce them more than talk about me.
Fantastic. So welcome to Seedcast. As always, guys, we are live, so please feel free to comment. The Seedcast we do every Tuesday evening. It comes across all the platforms. We're even live on Clubhouse this evening. Little golf clap for that. So we are joined by the lovely ladies from the Business Buddha. I've been going through my diversity and inclusion training over the last week. So this is going to be a different experience, hopefully, for everybody on the call. So please, I have met Ellie. I haven't met Emma. Lovely to see you guys on. Please, Ellie, introduce us to yourself, the Business Buddha, and then we'll come to you, Hema, if that's okay.
Yeah, so hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me here and Hema today. So the Business Buddha is basically we inspire, grow and shape conscious organization, which will explain everything about what it is and what we mean by conscious organization later. So I've met you, Ant, 2 years ago, remember? Yeah, so that's when I met you.
Just to let everybody know, you insulted me before we got on here.
Yeah, I did.
Apparently Godin's gone.
Elizabeth, I like you more already.
I did say that Ant had charisma when you were saying he was really good looking. So I think it's a compliment, and I think it's a compliment. But yeah, so we've met about 2 years now, 2.5 years ago. And I think when we've met, I was planting the seed of the idea. I had the seed of the Business Buddha. So it grew from there, really. I had an idea. So my background is human resource. So the accent is Belgian, French, but from Belgium. So you can situate myself. I've been in the UK for 17 years. My background is recruitment. So I started in my 20s in recruitment for about 6 years. Then I just saw that people like Ant were quite boring and rude. So I moved into HR.
Well, now that you're over 40, is it a lot easier for you now, or is it? Anyway, swiftly moving on. No, we did meet 2 years ago, and what I like to see about what we do as a business is about relationships, about nurturing those relationships. We don't speak a lot, but we do speak occasionally. We now have a weekly call, which is very interesting for what I do in your business. I've got a lot of time now in my new job with the One Group. With making sure that what we're doing is ethical, it's D&I, we are doing recruitment that is, repeatable. It is something that actually benefits the people that we're talking to in the career. But that's a story for another day, because we're here to look at you and what we talk about. So talk to us about the inclusion of Hema into your business.
Yeah, so HR. Then from HR I moved, and I've quit my job. I became a yoga teacher. Mindfulness teacher, so that's something completely different when I've been on my spiritual journey. And then on that, so then I've decided to mix the HR kind of skills, sales skills, all of my skills basically, and that created the Business Buddha. I've met Hema about 2 years ago as well, right? So we got introduced, like someone introduced us, and we got on along straight away. We were yin yang, even though what we were wearing the first time we met, we were kind of.
One of you was in black with white accoutrements, and the other was in white with black accoutrements.
So I had a black top with white spot, and she had a white top with black spots, which was quite funny. And then, anyway, that details. But down the line, 1.5 years down the line, so 6 months ago, a bit more than 6 months ago now, Hema and I decided to get together. Because we've got really complementary skills. And Hema, maybe you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
You weren't joking about talking too much, Ellie, which is great. So
I wasn't joking at all. Like, you've got to check me out sometimes.
We did talk about saying it's like John said, it's like us meeting in Starbucks for the first time.
Other coffees are available. Right?
Other coffee companies are available. But please, lovely to meet you, and the floor is yours. You've got 30 seconds.
No problem. So my background is also in recruitment. So I started off, only ever worked in-house, worked for technology companies like Unisys, Hewlett-Packard, EDS, those kinds of companies. Then I spent 9 years in financial services doing roles like head of resourcing at Santander, set up their future of work practice. And then I broke free from the corporate world and decided to work, still examining like workplace transformation, future of work, conscious leadership together. So I met Ellie, like she said, we joined forces about 6 months ago. We both have a very similar background coming from the world of like talent acquisition and recruitment, but very much
feel decidedly outnumbered by all these talent acquisition people.
Yeah, John, if you can, just take a back seat, mate, and just stick a flag up when you want to talk. But firstly, to start off with, and it's lovely to have you ladies on here, and it's really interesting. And what Ellie sort of started to do, and I was there really to watch the wheels turning, if you like, a couple of years ago. I think that when it gets, I remember seeing you for the first time on a video, which was you two walking through the woods or something, and you were on, and I like that, and I thought, you know what, that's kind of like me, the randomness of it, and that, but it's you guys just being you. I think that we should probably start, John, with the question. What was it? What is?
Well, no, it's just something Hema said. You said conscious leadership. Now, you know, and you talk about the business but of growing conscious organizations. I'm not sure I know what that means. Sorry.
No, that's all right. So the way I would describe conscious
leadership. Did she just roll her eyes at you, John?
No.
Roll her eyes. 100%, you just got your eyes on.
I'm used to that.
You know what's funny about this as well? When Hema's, because her internet's not great, but when it freezes, she always looks amazing. Have you noticed?
I don't know that.
When mine freezes, I look like I've got 35 chins. I look like Jabba the Hutt off of a Star Wars.
Yeah, but you do have a face for radio.
Yeah, okay, that's true. So I take my screen off. Yeah, there we go. How's that? Does that sound better? Yeah.
For Hema, sorry.
No. Let me answer.
I also have the option to do this, guys. So please, let's remember that we're in charge here. And guys, we want this to be we want people to watch this and view this and see this. I can see that there's people looking at this on LinkedIn. If you're watching this and this is something that you're interested in, please comment. We would like to chat. But please, Hema, carry on.
Yeah, so conscious leadership, basically put really simply, is about creating levels of awareness inside your organization, but also outside. So basically being able to increase that awareness and then have a very different perspective when you're operating internally with your teams, your peers, your staff, your customers, but also externally being able to spot things on the horizon in a very different way. So if you can do that, you create an environment that has encourages, I guess, better well-being, creativity, people are really aligned, there's meaning in the work that they do, and so it just creates a really different outcome, put very simply.
So if we look at that, and we look at, I can't remember who it was now, someone was posting on LinkedIn today going, should we go to a 4-day work week? Is that something that, is that trying to force the issue without actually looking at the issue, or is that something that is similar to this? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
What I would say about conscious leadership and conscious organization is consciousness starts with oneself. So what we do is basically, what I think everybody wants in life is happiness. I think we can agree with that. It doesn't matter really where you work. You want to be happy. You want to be mentally stable. So there is loads of mental health issue and so on. So it's got nothing to do with 4 days, 3 days, 2 days. It's about being happy within yourself. And so it's how do we create that? So like in what we do, there is we've got several aspects of it. We've got the personal aspect and what we can call leadership. But the leadership doesn't need to be a CEO. You can be secretary and have leadership within yourself. Leadership is taking responsibility and initiative for yourself and for your own happiness. And we give loads of workshop tips, and we help people discovering this true authenticity and the nature of who we are to tap into this happiness. And then on top of that, because it's very good to be nice and happy, and then you go, I call it, I've got an analogy of the fish in dirty water. Put a fish in dirty water, he gets ill, then you remove the fish, heal the fish, put it back in dirty water, it gets healed again. And I see often organization these days is the dirty water. So it's really good to work on yourself, on your mindfulness, on your happiness. If the structure or the organization is still very old-fashioned, doesn't allow for creativity, self-management, and all of these kind of things, it kind of puts stress on people. So it's how do we manage to create a very conscious structure in an organization, which means that it allows people to become authentic, not to have this kind of parent-child relationship, but take responsibility for yourself and find your own happiness within, with authenticity, courage, mindfulness, and all of that kind of qualities that we're looking
so
into.
How does that manifest itself? I guess there's two aspects to that. How does it manifest itself across an organization? People at the top have very, very different requirements in terms of we can talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all that kind of stuff, but they have very different kind of requirements to people starting out in their career, and then where we are in our life cycle, we have very different requirements. People with young families have different requirements, people approaching retirement, and then different groups: Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers. It becomes really complex to kind of make all of that lot weld together in a cohesive, kind of functioning, holistic group.
Yeah.
Well, it could be complex, but I think there are two things. So I think there is one itself is having a really clear purpose. So I think all organizations, there is a reason why they've started. They have a mission. And actually, sometimes the bigger they get, the further removed they get from the mission and why they started. So I think it's going back to why do you do what you do, and how does that manifest itself inside your business, but also along the experience of your customers and your employees and your staff and your suppliers. So I think it's going back to that mission. So that's the one thing that binds everybody together, and it creates that collective shared goal. And then I think the second thing is around, so John, you mentioned we do have complex multi-generational workforces where people have different attitudes, expectations, needs. But I think in an organization that fosters some of this kind of conscious leadership, you get better communication, you get better understanding, you get better relationships, better sense of connection. And actually, once you start to unpick all that, the way it fosters a very different environment. And
so it's much more open then.
Much more open, much more, we have the ability to actually listen actively, be able to respond rather than react. And I think that's powerful. It doesn't matter whether you're the CEO or if you're somebody who's just entering a business and you're new in your career. I think so they're really powerful skills, and they really transform the interactions that you have. And going back to, and you had a question earlier to say, is it just like a 4-day week? And I don't think it's just a 4-day week. It could be, but it's around how do you create that better cohesion, better productivity, and giving people the flexibility to create better outcomes in the most easiest way possible.
Do you know? I mean, we're in a really interesting time now. Obviously, we're all in the same boat. I work in an office environment. I mean, I'm currently in. Where am I? Cambridgeshire, and up north. And I work in an office.
Cambridgeshire is the East Midlands. Just be careful. Yeah. You keep saying up north. It's like there's a lot of northerners very upset. There's a lot of southerners very upset.
We're up north. Let's put it that way. It was snowing yesterday. So I work in an office environment. I work in a place where people now are coming back from furlough. Some people have been furloughed for 1 year. During that year, and we've talked about this funny enough about CCAST that we do, by the way, guys, every Tuesday at 7. But it's kind of following a theme, isn't it, John? We talked before about habits, about breaking habits. But I've got people coming back that work for me, or people coming back that have worked for me, or working for me now in an environment where they've spent 1 year getting paid to work, but playing on their Xbox. I couldn't even tell you what it's going to be like in 2 months. What would you recommend that we looked at, or we started to, obviously bring the business Buddha in, get them to help us with it, but what would you think are key KPIs, indicators that things need to change, or we need to start looking at stuff differently? What would be your kind of, the questions that you put out there to see if we're in an environment that does need healing?
Yeah, well, I think, one big component is values. So the first thing that we do when we approach an organization is, so that's linked to the purpose, but it's also like, look at the values. So you need, as a leader, to know your values. You need to know the values of the organization, and then the people you bring in needs to be aligned to these values. The way we do that, we go quite deeply into that. It's a very interesting exercise, but it's so powerful. The thing is, and what you need to realize that is like, when we start doing this kind of work, you've got to kind of be ready that you might need to to detach yourself from some people.
Yeah.
It depends on the way you want to run your business. But if you want to have a super healthy business, it's much more powerful to recruit people based on value than based on skills.
It's interesting because Hema mentioned mission earlier, and I was going to pick up on something she said and say that, absolutely, companies write missions, print them off, stick them on the wall, forget all about them, and years later things change. Not even years, but a while later things change, and you never revisit them. But values are a relatively modern thing for companies to have. I remember writing mission statements and vision statements